Okay, it's recording. Welcome everyone to the Jenkins weekly infrastructure team meeting. So this week and today we are 25 March 2025. Around the virtual table we have myself, Damien Duportal, Stéphane Mel, Jeredy, usual contributor. Welcome to Giovanni Vaccarino. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. So Giovanni is applying for a GSOC project and is here to learn more things. So welcome. So let's get started with announcement. Last week, the Jenkins release 2.502 was released successfully after the meeting. No issues whatsoever. And this week, the weekly release 2.503 started on time, is almost finished. So as soon as we have finished the meeting, we will need to publish the Docker packaging and that everything should be good. Second announcement, yesterday was announced a CVE advisory on Nginx ingress in Kubernetes, which we use. So as soon as the patch was available earlier today, a few hours ago, we applied it. So less than 1 hour after the publication. Big thanks to Hervé Lemer and Olivier Vernin, who let us know really early in time and who pointed us to the right elements to have. We also added all together as a team. We disabled the webhook admission. That was useful, but the risk involved now, as per the Ingress Nginx authors, says hey, we might not want to have this in production. Which means if we need to create new ingress rules, please be careful if you add custom annotation. Ideally, we should remove all annotation or move to a specific Nginx when we really need annotation at the ingress level. Ingress should not have any annotation at all. Be careful. This means that we might have to do things on the update center quite soon enough. However, no harm on the update center, and most probably we will force update center to use TLS soon. That will solve that problem. So nothing else for us to do. Just mention that now we are safe and we haven't seen any suspicious activity because that would have involved something being hacked and then a lateral attack inside a cluster because our cluster are not multi-tenant. Another note, though, I discovered that the Ingress Nginx is going to enter maintenance mode later this year because in Kubernetes, the API for the Ingress has been long due to deletion because it has a lot of problems. And everyone using fancy tools are moving and all the rage is moving to the Gateway API, which is a new way of abstracting elements. So the maintainers of Ingress Nginx says they are building a project name in something that will replace Ingress Nginx and that is fully compliant with the new Gateway API. However, they won't implement all the features. They will try to be safe by default. So the issue I've pointed here points to a video with explanation. No emergency for us, it's something to have in mind. They will keep providing updates and security issues at least for 1 year and a half. So we are safe, but we will have to think about the transition. Most probably after we have migrated our clusters to the new outbound system. Finally, third announcement. We have had a plugin as a security advisory last week. 2 plugins in Jenkins ecosystem were concerned, in particular one around the IDDSA encryption. All of our controllers had this and were patched in the next 24 hours. So thanks everyone for your help. That's all for me on the announcement. Any question? Okay. Next step, let's have a look at the upcoming calendar. The next weekly release will happen next week. That will be 2.503. So we will be the 1st of April. So that release should have some Easter eggs at least. And Easter eggs in advanced. Like a
504
pitch.
for the 1st of April. Sorry, you said 503.
Oh, sorry, 504. My bad. Thanks. And the next LTS release will be the day after, 2nd April. That should be a .3 for 2.492.3. Bruno Vararten is the release lead, and he will be followed and mentored by Kristen. So thanks, folks. We don't have any publicly announced or planned Jenkins advisory, so nothing for us to focus on. And we have a bunch of credentials that will come to expiration in 10, more or less 10 days, the 4th of April. So we are fine if we don't have time to rotate them this week.
The
The
8th
8th, yeah,
of April.
sorry, these American dates are making me crazy.
That's not
Sorry,
even
the
American,
8th
that's
of
year month.
April. So we are fine if we don't finish this before next week, but yeah, ideally we should have this rotation done. In particular, if we have time, that could be interesting to start checking if we could replace the trust. Sorry, forget what I said. These are not the one I was. Anyway, so we have to rotate these credentials. We don't have a major events plan in which you can meet the infra contributors. That's all for the upcoming calendar. Any question or things I said that are wrong, particularly numbers? Nope. Okay. Let's continue with a look at the cloud budgets. On the Azure paid accounts, so as a reminder that these are bills in Azure that are paid by the CDF. We have consumed 3.3K. We have a forecast at 4.3K. So everything is under control here. As a reminder, the threshold is 4.5K. So we are fine on this one. Same on the Azure sponsored account. We have consumed 3.4K, forecast at 4.3 also. So we have 44K credits available until end of May. So for information, Microsoft told us that the expiry dates or adding credential are tightly bound to their billing cycle, and that will be decided the middle of April. So we cannot have an answer before end of April. So we are still in the unknown on that area, which means we have to be careful, and eventually in April we will have to search for a new sponsor if we run out of credits in Amazon early. Right now, we have enough credits until the expiry date and even later if needed. So we are fine on that area. Digital Ocean also, costs are under control, steady, and in the expected forecast. So nothing new, nothing to point here. CloudBee is same. On the CloudBee's paid AWS account, same. As a reminder, this credit should soon start to move to Digital Ocean, in which we have plenty credits. And last week, our bad surprise was on the Amazon sponsored account. So right now we haven't updated, but we haven't updated the amount of credit left. So let me put this here. We have consumed 13.4K, which is now a forecast at 15.2, which is way better than last week. Last week, the forecast was at 21K. All the effort we did on the past 7 days have paid off because the cost drastically decreased. I invite you to look at the issue linked here, in which we have daily screenshots of we are following every day, and we will continue because since we made actions, Stefan and I, even yesterday, we will need to continue validating our action on time. But right now, we were able to decrease from almost 1K per day to 180 to 200 daily, which is really a great decrease, mostly due to data transfer and instance cost moving to spots. So we should be able to continue working on other tasks because costs are under control, but we have to follow them daily at least for 1 week. And on JFrog, everything is under control. We are steady at 3.69 terabytes, which means Darwin scripts are working as expected. So that's fine for JFrog, as far as I can tell. And the bandwidth for this month is currently at 36 terabytes downloaded. That's steady since the past day. So it looks like that some of the action that Darwin was taking trigger a peak some days on increasing, mostly because when he was trying to change the scope of the artifacts, that trigger whatever consumer publicly to start download everything yet again. So now it's steady. I hope we should be under 35 terabyte next month. Any question on the cloud budgets? Nope. Okay. So now let's have a look at the task we were able to finish during the past milestone, meaning since last week. On the support area, so thanks Oliver Gonza for the contribution you made. So Oliver has designed all of the plugin he used to maintain. He changed his mind. There are other contributors. Thanks for everything you did for the project. And as such, we had to remove him from the Jira components modules because this plugin were using issue tracker on Jira. And so we had to change the permission. Thanks, Mark, for taking care of this. Thanks, Stefan, for fixing the issue on Terraform related. No, sorry, that's not this one. But thanks anyway, because it worked. We had something we changed on Datadog side. So our Terraform detected the shift and was failing. So we fixed the issue by importing the new element and everything is green again. There has been request around Jenkins CI organization, not on the infra side, but we mentioned that now some of the users, such as Adrien, have extended permission on the Jenkins CI organization until the bot is fixed for maintaining permission for my plugin contributors. Thanks, Stefan, for checking that the word log on Windows Agent on Amazon. Looks like we have changed the C2 launcher, so that problem is away. Thanks, Stefan, for finishing the action for our new sponsor in India. So thanks for sponsoring us. We have now 3 mirrors that are serving only the India area, which is already a lot of terabytes downloaded. We finally closed an old issue. So just a reminder, folks, especially to you, Stefan, because at the moment in time, you might have to do it. So the CD process is a GitHub workflow composite action. It's a kind of pipeline library, but for GitHub action. And that one is used by almost all plugins to automatically release. The work process is checking the check if the CI is okay on the principal branch and that the detected changelog has enough interesting changes, then it automatically triggers a release. That process has been updated with 3 changes. Now, during the Maven deploy phase, it only sends the artifact at the end of the build. So first it builds everything locally, then eventually some tests and checks, and then it uploads everything atomically. Which means if there is a build failure, such as a network issue, you won't have a partial release push to Artifactory, which lets the maintainers ready to retry the release directly. They are more autonomous. As a reminder, we cannot delete a release. So if it's partial and you need to bump the release number. It's a safety issue. It's also retrying if there is a failure due to a network transient error. Thanks Olivier Lamy for this. It's retrying at least one time just in case. Finally, there has been a really old issue that we forgot about from James Node. So Stefan, why am I mentioning this? It's because we have a 2-step process for this one. We have the action. So the action is a kind of package. It packages an action that you can call in a GitHub workflow. And here we had a few pull requests to merge. We, as Jenkins Infra maintainer, have to maintain this and trigger a builder release. So do you remember when you are logged in, you create a new release, you specify the name, you can generate automatically the release note from the past one, and that's all. That's a mandatory step, which is manual.
Yeah, like Packer image release. That's the same.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the same idea. And then we have a composite action. I don't remember the exact name. The composite action is like Kubernetes management. Once we have released the individual Maven CD action, I forgot where's the so it detects automatically and the pull request is open to publish the change to everyone. So it's a 2-step process that allows testing. We closed the issue about instability on
Sorry,
artifact
just to make
caching.
sure.
Yeah.
In fact, I just need to subscribe to any change and pull request on those 2 repository and to
Yes,
make sure that if there is important change, we publish new tags
yes,
and
exactly.
new
I,
version.
I,
Okay.
I think you should eventually clean up all your notification and listen to everything happens in Jenkins Infra and
Oh,
remove eventually www Jenkins IO, which is quite noisy,
okay.
unless you are mentioned. But for the rest, we need to be like Sauron. We need to have an eye on everything.
Yes.
The instability on artifact caching proxy are gone. What we saw during the last changes is that it's fine for now to keep it as a stateful set, and we only have one replica, and you have 1 to 2 minutes in unavailability when you restart the process to a new machine. That's okay. Since it's a caching system, our system looks like they are falling back somewhere else. We can improve that in the future, but for now it's fine. And finally, we closed an old issue that was out of date. Thanks, Stefan, on DigitalOcean build thing. I forgot to merge your pull request 2 weeks ago. Thanks for catching that. And for the rotation of credential. On my side, I rotated all credential on the backends. And finally, Jay, thanks for the work you did on update CLI changes. Looks like everything is working. That's really cool. So now you will be able to focus to your new task. Finally, we were able to switch CI Jenkins IO to use S3 Artifact Manager. When you have a stash unstash on a Jenkins pipeline, by default, the agent copy the files on the controller and then back from the controller to the agent when you unstash. Same for archive artifacts. Now we're using S3 buckets. As we discovered, S3 data transfer is now free with the action we took last week, which means all the data transfer between our controller and agents are now using the S3 bucket. Less pressure on the controller, less cost for us in data transfer, and less cost on the storage part. Now, time to go on support, unless there are questions or things I could have forgotten on the work in progress. Nope. Okay. First of all, Jay, your turn because last time you had to wait and to be the last one. So, your new task should be related to the API rate limit we have on GitHub action, on GitHub, sorry, on InfraCI when we build the Docker, Jenkins, whatever images.
Yeah.
So I've commented the issue and created a specific issue on the pipeline library. There are multiple steps, but the first step is trying to learn and prepare draft pull request on the pipeline library. Are
Okay.
there any blocker for you?
No, none as of now.
Okay. Given it's a long-running task, let us know if you want to do teeny task. We have a few updates CLI that could be done easily.
Yeah, I could do
Yep.
that concurrently.
Okay, I will add the issue and assign them to you. But mostly if you search for to-do track with update CLI, you can find plenty. But yeah, do not hesitate. But the focus should stay on this one for you.
And remember to
Yeah,
remove the comment when you're done with the manifest, because if not, we will do the work again and again.
got it.
Step 1, draft, PR. Be careful that step 2, in order to test, that will be a bit more complicated than the previous task. To test, you'll need a new multi-branch pipeline job in InfraCI. We won't be able to change the existing project as it. So you will need a separated one that you will use for your testing that we will trash at the end. Okay? The main concern is because since it's a new process, that's new things will have different settings, especially we will forbid it from discovering tags, which is the main consumption of API calls.
Okay.
Okay for you?
Yeah.
Okay, so since it's late, Jay, you are allowed you are allowed to leave now if you want. You are welcome to stay, do as
I'll
much as
stay
you
for
can.
a bit.
Okay, next one, CI Jenkins IO cost. Jenkins.io costs. AWS cost, sorry. Stefan, can you give us an update on the spot instances? What is the status of this issue related particular with the costs?
We try to move every single usage of box instances, on-demand instances, sorry, to spot instances, as we saw that it can save a lot of, you say cash, money. First, we also changed the kind of on-demand and spot machine we were using by choosing one that is not how you say that the rate of killing in spot instances is low, as AWS is publishing that the statistic telling us that those kind of machine have a rate of request of less than 5%, meaning that we can use them and have less than 5% of chance that they get killed and used by someone else. Of course, if we use and if we select machine that have 20 or more percent, that can start to be a bad solution, as we will spend more money by trying and retrying and more time. So we changed the machine type and we set up as much as possible the usage of spot instances, and we dealt that from the Jenkins pipeline library with a retry system that will first try on spot instances twice, and the third attempt will be on non-spot instances with the exact same type of machine. This should save us, if I don't mistake, it's around 45% of the cost.
Yep. Thanks.
45 or 55?
The
Somewhere like that.
yeah, it depends. Yeah, 55, sometimes 70.
We still have some on-demand usage, so that means that we still need to work on that and to make sure that we do most of the change on spot
Mm.
instances.
Instances. So you mentioned, yes, that's true. You mentioned that we have the ci.jenkins.io's VM that cannot be a spot instance
Yeah, of
because
course.
it's not
All
highly
the
available.
non-agents
And the
VM must
two
be on-demand,
OKS, not
and the not
two
spot instance.
OKS application nodes, of course. So that means we have three machines. We should have, so that means two kinds of machines that are still in box usage. However, we have a bunch more other cases. Packer. I'm absolutely sure we are not using Spot for Packer, so that's something.
Oh yeah.
Nope,
Okay.
I don't think so. That remain
Okay.
to be
Okay. To be
proven,
done. To be done. That's good.
to be checked
But
and
this
done
means that the
if not.
project to enhance the checks on the pull request on Packer is going to be important now.
No, you don't. Yeah, I mean it's you no, it's each spot is not enabled, spot true, and you're done. Next. You don't have anything else to do. Worst case, the builds are failing. Okay. Then
Yeah, and
we
then
trigger a new build.
you spent an hour waiting, and then you have to spend another hour waiting.
Yes, and
I hate to wait 1 hour.
yeah, but you don't have any other solution. It takes 1 hour to build the thing. That's the same thing as the bomb. The bomb will always take 1 hour and a half to build, whether it works or not. If you try to optimize that, you will waste your time and you will waste money. But so yes, here we have to enable spot if not the case on Packer. Dot. Then next task. We need to check fast launch. Stefan, can I let you check for Packer? And I
I'm
will
doing
take
that right
care.
now.
Cool. And I will take care of checking if the fast launch system is using Spot or not, and if it can. And we will report this on the issue. Any question on the spot instance? No, Stefan, don't do it right now. That's a task for during the milestone. Are there any question on the CI Jenkins IO spot usage? Implemented retry on build plugin pipeline library. So yes, there is something else, Stefan. We have to inform developers we switched fully to Spot.
I thought we were waiting
So
for
they can
the end of all changes,
off
all the changes to make sure that we are spot everywhere.
of all the changes that impact the developer, yes.
Okay, so that's already
Yes.
most of the cases.
We already did way more work than we thought. To us in case of a problem. Are you okay to send an email for this?
Yes, of course, yes.
Cool, thanks. Okay, next issue, still for you, mic is still yours, Stefan. Using the local store, so the local NVMe devices instead of EBS.
I'm bumping my head on that one right now. So we decided to use a kind of machine that got a local store and to manage to mount that local store to use it as a workspace because we saw a huge increase on Kubernetes nodes using that local store. And right now I'm playing with the Cloud Init uh, part that is preparing that disk and mounting it and formatting it and everything. Um, right now it's working 5 seconds and then the agent crash. So I need to find why.
Okay, so we need to pair. Do we need to pair? Okay,
Yes, with pleasure.
okay. So we need to pair. The goal is to continue in that area. Okay, that's all for this one. Anything else?
No.
Okay, we have one that should help. We regularly have HTTP 429 Docker hub errors for buildings when pulling container images from our own system. It's because it goes through the NAT gateway, which data transfer is way more important than going to our local cache. Our local cache is not used when using Buildix. We haven't had any news from Hervé, so I will consider I will go forward and proceed with this one because that should be just a few settings to make. Should help taking over from Hervé as no news. Okay, that's all on the costs. I think that one is support, real world. No, I think that's all on the cost for CI Jenkins IO. So now back to support. I don't know what I did on my note, sorry. Okay. Is it readable again? Yep. Okay. So on the support part, Mark White opened an issue about some tests on Jenkins core are failing much more often since we moved to AWS. We still have to diagnose that part, especially since I was expecting the test to be run on containers, so they should already have the local NVMe's instance store. However, I haven't seen any data about are these tests failing on Windows or Linux. If it's on Windows, that means the work you are doing on the instance store, Stefan, should solve that issue definitively. Needs to determine in which kind of agent these tests are run and failing. Nothing else on that matter. We are focusing on the cost and the instance store part. We tried to bump Cloudflare Terraform provider, keep platform up to date. They provided since end of January a major bump version on their Terraform provider, which, okay, we had 1 month and a half, and they mentioned that they were stopping to maintain the 4 point something line. So it was time for us to try migrating. Spoiler alert, they did a mess of it. That's the worst breaking change transition I ever seen in Terraform providers on my life. Everything is broken and silently. So it's breaking some part of your infrastructure without telling you it's changing these elements. It even tried to delete some part of the infrastructure without telling us so. So we have paused for now, at least the part related to the API tokens. They should publish fixes with the 5.2 because I waited the 5.1, but looks like even that wasn't good enough. We'll try again with on the public Terraform project, but the private Terraform project is clearly right now on break. So we have added a pinning version on the 4 point something, and we will see in the future. For pins to for yeah, as the current 5.1.x is broken and almost destroyed the update center infra. So nothing was seen by the end users because the elements that were destroyed, all the workflow went to archive Jenkins IO as a fallback during 1 hour. So that's okay, even for the cost. So yep, that one is low priority. We will continue working on it. More importantly, we have, again, issues with a fail to read expected number of bytes. That message is important, and unexpected EOF. So the unexpected EOF can be many reasons, but that one is because some layers on our Docker local registry cache are corrupted. Their size on the virtual file system are 0. So they are served, but they announce they have a legit side because the metadata are encrypted with the right data. We think we have a solution. On short term, we tend to clean up the data directory and let the cache fill itself. As Stefan mentioned last week, we should apply a TTL to 0 to mark once it's cached, it's infinite. Need to set TTL of cached layers to 0. And also we have to clean up the cached layers to remove corrupted ones. And then we'll see. Any question? Okay. What important thing do we have? Docker SSH agent build consistently failing due to test on hold. AWS costs local storage. What do we have? Kubernetes 1.31. Stefan, can you give us an update on this one?
Yeah, not really. No real update. I have not done much. I think I just updated Kubectl. And no, you did update Kubectl. I updated the issue to point every step you did. That's all.
Is
Sorry.
you client side? Okay, so it's not no work done. That's a
No.
little work. Issue be updated to anticipate planning. So, do you think you will be able to start planning and working on the change log? Do you want to hand over that task? What's the status for you?
No, I want to try. I want to try, yes.
Okay. So we have to work on the changelog and start planning and eventually upgrading some clusters.
Yes.
On the important topics, which are less important now, the Artifactory storage program. So right now, Darin is unavailable and still for 1 or 2 weeks. He has a script that runs once every 2 days, so that keeps the cost and the usage steady. We will resume work on April. Resuming work in April once Darin will be back. That's all. Oh, on the cost, I forgot about caching. So I closed a bit too hastily the issue around client-side caching on the BOM. So caching works very well. We now have a weekly job which generates cache from scratch. So why from scratch instead of reusing the existing cache? It's just that we only keep a window of cache that we need at an instant of time. If we add all dependencies that are not needed anymore, they will disappear. Otherwise, the cache will grow and start to reach a certain threshold in which it won't be useful at all. Next step, last step, monitor. So here I need help or ideas on how could we monitor it efficiently because it's not publicly available. So we might need, I was thinking about a job on CI Jenkins.io that will run and check the status regularly in the acceptance tests. And then we use Datadog to track that job. We cannot use the technique that Jay will work on in the future when regarding to private or report Jenkins.io, because CI Jenkins.io and that cache are on AWS, in which they don't have access to the web service. Otherwise, we will need to start adding credentials that would allow something in Amazon to write on Azure, which we don't want. Monitor.
And having multiple one in Azure and one in AWS, and that the tool of J will match the two of them.
How is that possible? I mean, you need to monitor the cache in Amazon.
Yeah.
The rest is not useful because not used. How do we do that?
Oh, so if we play that in the, yeah, that's silly.
We need to check
Got it.
that the age
We
of
need
the
to run that
cache
on
is exactly
Amazon too.
is not much than 1 week and its size is bigger than 1 GB. There might be things in Amazon S3 though.
Mm.
Less than 7 days and more than 1, 2. So almost there. Jenkins prototype. I think that one can be closed, right, Stefan?
I have to check if my pull requests have been merged. Because if yes, yes.
One last pair introducing Netlify as code instead of manual setting. Okay, don't forget
Merged.
to change the title of your pull request because it was referring to Infra
Oh
CI
yeah,
this
you're
morning.
right.
Okay, so not too close, but almost done. It's a matter of having the right pull request merge with the right content, and we're done. Thanks, Stefan.
You're welcome.
I hope this will help Jan Faracik to propose modern things on the UI. For every other issues, so they are on hold, low priority. Build failed to resume. It's a bug on EC2, most probably on EC2 plugin. Possible announcement on Packer plugin. Real world job weekly CI. Resumed after cube 1.31. That will be for you, Stefan, most probably. Update Jenkins IO needs to clean up. You see leftovers. Infra, one last week waiting from Andrew. So migration to updates Jenkins IO, that one has some activity in it. Crap. I'm killing the indentation. Don't look. Okay. Sorry. On update center, started cleaning up puppets and preparing Jenkins.io blog post announcing UC force to TLS. That will allow us, if we can enable automatic redirection for enforcing HTTPS instead of HTTP. Now that all Jenkins LTS versions since 2 line on LTS and weekly since 4 months, they let the user know. And for people running older Jenkins version, they will have one field to change on their administration process. Because it's been 8 months now that we advertised it. So now I'm going to publish a blog post saying we are going to enforce that in, I think, second week of April. And then that will allow us to remove half of the components that we used to run on the update center. And that will remove the annotation on Nginx ingress. And finally, account app is delayed. Now, a few elements. We have a set of new issue to triage. First, we have had a minor one around an error when you use old links pointing to CI Jenkins IO. So it's because we have stopped using that domain name. So that's a low priority one, but we can look at it because we will need to manage more domain name on CI Jenkins IO Puppet recipe. Low priority, but might be useful to allow multiple SAN on the CI Jenkins.io Puppet Let's Encrypt system. That should be a bit of quick Puppet priority. So I'm adding it on the new milestone and we will start working on it soon. Next one, we have had a request for one of the GSOC projects. There's been a long discussion following the consequences of using LLM. So just in case, so you know my bias, I'm against LLMs at all. I think these are big pile of shit that doesn't help the industry and not sustainable. They just allow people to get more money or have the impression that they learned something. And in fact, it's not the case. The consequences of this are terrible on open source infrastructure like ours. For instance, that increased 1,000 times the amount of requests on CI Jenkins IO, which is a sponsored service. So we had to block IPs. We don't know if it's a common attack or if it's part of the GSOC project, but that raised another question. If we have a GSOC project around, hey, we want to do whatever we want on that public data, yes, but what is the goal? As discussed with Kristen, one of the mentors, uh, we have that request of dumping data out from CI Jenkins IO. One of the main intent is to see if an LLM could help the plugin developers, so the one that are using CI Jenkins IO, to know if a given build failure is caused by an infrastructure-related thing, missing agent, network transient error, spot instance reclaimed too many times, I don't know, timeout reached, or is it a test failure? That's the goal that has been defined and the scope pushed by Chris. In that case, that means us, we should be able to at least one shot dump and backup CI Jenkins IO data and only extract the pipeline logs from jobs because these pipelines are already public and available by everyone without authentication. So the goal of that issue is to dump one time anonymize the data and push them so they can download it. So yep, let's add it to the new milestone. New milestone, scope define. We only have to export job data. Of course, we won't share the controller configuration and that kind of thing, and we won't let the LLM read CI Jenkins IO. The GSOC project or anyone interested will run a Jenkins, pay for the infrastructure and the request, and pay for the LLM on their own. We don't want to support that use case as a reminder. It's a one-shot action. The rest of the issues are delayed for later because we have too many things to do. Are there any questions or did I miss anything?
No question from me, no question from Giovanni.
No question from me
Yes,
either.
just one. Yes, you can write your question, Giovanni. Aseka, Jay, thanks. So Giovanni is writing his question. He has a mic issue. Hello, Kevin. By the way, no question from you, Kevin?
No, nothing from me. Thank you, though.
Do you think any of those might be approachable for someone just looking? So I'm stating the question aloud for people watching the recording. So Giovanni is asking about the low priority and new issues. Do you think any of those might be approachable for someone just looking to try and understand how things work? It would be great to explore and learn, even if it's just to get familiar. So that's a good question. Thanks for asking and thanks for your willingness to contribute. For this specific issue, clearly no. Because when you have an issue, that means you have to plan and you need a review. No one works alone. There are no alone contribution, at least on the infrastructure. I don't want to tell about contribution to Jenkins plugins. Most of these issues are written by us, and we don't have a lot of time to triage newbie because as soon as as a newcomer, you want to learn something, you need people to help and accompany, to be with you. And it also takes time for us to review, deploy, and eventually fix things. So these issues are not really easy to work because you will also require access and that will be time consuming. The reason why we delay them is because we already have too much work. However, we have a few issues that could be done. Jay could testify and point you to what we call update CLI issues. We have a lot of dependencies that are pinned everywhere in the infrastructure. And usually we could write update CLI manifests. That's a command line tool that we use everywhere to track dependencies. And that will automate opening pull requests saying, hey, there is a new version of whatever, and I see you could update it. That part could be done easily and in autonomy because it doesn't require any kind of, let's say, specific access. So if you are interested, you can search for to-do track with update CLI. And eventually, if Jay is okay, we could write a few issues and point them to you. Yes, thanks, Jay. That's a good point. I think you should start with the quick start of update CLI. Cool. So the question has been answered. You've been clear. Thanks a lot. Thanks for asking, Giovanni. Any other question? Nope. Okay. So then I'm gonna stop recording. So first stop screen sharing and I'm gonna stop recording. So for people watching us, see you next week.
Bye-bye.